Hello folks and welcome to another video on the channel in 2021. Can't be many left now, I'll tell you. In fact, this is a bit of a bonus video maybe, or I don't know, just a bit of an extra video. I wasn't going to make it, but you know what, I thought sod it. Why not? Because this is all about the Honeycomb Alpha Yoke. Now I'm well aware that I'm probably the last flight simmer in the world to have bought one. And that's why I've titled this video, I have made a mistake, because I have been using the CH Eclipse Yoke, which by the way, I still highly recommend. It's lasted me 10 years, guys. Seriously, 10 years. I don't think anything lasts 10 years these days. So that is pretty impressive, and I still recommend it. However, this is better. It absolutely is. But it's not perfect, and I thought I could have a bit of a chat whilst flying in the Just Flight Warrior around Edinburgh in 2D mode. Horror! I know I'm in 2D mode. But this is, by the way, I don't know who has made this particular airport. I can't remember, but I'll put on the screen now. This is a wonderful rendition. It's very, very impressive. It is as good as anything I've reviewed this year, to be honest. So I highly recommend you buy this if you fly out of Edinburgh quite a lot. This is real world weather. We've got some snow showers around. We're going to go for a circuit here, and I'm going to explain all the things I love and the things I don't about this yoke. So with that being said, let's start with the build quality. Honestly, I was blown away as soon as I took it out the box. I don't know how Honeycomb has made a yoke this good looking and this well built for the price point, considering its features. I think even if this yoke was twice the price, this build quality would be acceptable, apart from one area, and that is these switches down here. They're not terrible, but they do feel a bit flimsy. I think the master switch and avionics switch isn't too bad. It's sort of, you know, it's okay, but I do think that these sort of light switches down here are below what I'd expect. They're a little bit flimsy, and I can imagine them breaking over time. However, the magneto switch over here feels really good quality, so that's a bit strange. I also think the buttons on here feel really good, and the overall feel of the yoke just feels so good. The material as well, this kind of like, I don't know what they've done, like a rubberized plastic. It feels quality. It really does, no doubt about it. So massive, you know, 10 out of 10 really, apart from obviously the switches. But you know what, for £250, I mean seriously, that is crazy value for money in my opinion, especially when you consider the warranty, which by the way, it's not a 5-year warranty on the yoke itself. People get confused about that. It's a 5-year warranty on the tensioner, but the actual unit still has a 2-year warranty. And to be honest, you know, I fly so much. If this lasts 2 years, I'd be a little bit annoyed if it broke, but I wouldn't be crying about it, to be honest, because I am a power user, as they like to say. And by the way, this is my desk, which is the weirdest, like, oldest desk, again, in the world, literally. And I wanted to show you this because I think some people think, because I'm a YouTuber, I have a really special studio tricked out with, you know, the best desk in the world. I don't. Literally, my little man cave is a small room. We are going to move next year into a much nicer house, hopefully. But at the moment, this is what I've got. And like everybody, I make it work, you know. And I was actually a bit concerned because this desk has a lip here, and I was worried that the clamping mechanism wouldn't attach to the desk, but it actually does. And even I haven't actually tried the suction pad thing. That's another option. I also like, by the way, how the clamp is metal. It just is, you know, a great quality yoke in terms of the build quality. Apart from a few little areas, I can forgo that, particularly for the price point, you know. But I would have easily have paid another £100, you know, bought this for £350 to have really high quality switches. I think most people would agree with me on that one. Right, anyway, let's get started. We're going to go for a couple of circuits here at Edinburgh before we get snowed in. The Piper Warrior is my all-time favourite general aviation aircraft. However, I wouldn't recommend you buy this if you haven't got any of the Piper range from Just Flight. I would actually, I would recommend the Turbo Arrow because it's a bit more tricked out. You've got engine failure modelling, it's got retractable gear. But the reason why this is my favourite is because I've flown one in real life many times. So there's a bit of nostalgia there for me. Right, anyway. We'll get the master on, we'll get the avionics on. In fact, no we won't, we'll actually get the beacon on first. I love using these switches down here. By the way, bit of a tip for you, if you have got a new yoke or a new controller and you fly in VR, I'd recommend flying in 2D mode. I know, 2D mode, but seriously, it's not that bad really. Obviously nowhere near as good as VR, but it really gets your muscle memory up to scratch, and by the time you start using it in VR, you'll get used to where things are again. That's what I've been doing, and it's worked a treat. Literally, I can use all these switches down here, the magneto switch, all of this here, in VR without not knowing where things are. So a bit of a tip there for you. So, I don't think we've got a taxi light, we've got a nav light. I would like to see a fuel pump switch here, that would have been quite cool. But nevertheless, that's fine. We'll get our fuel tank selector on. And yeah, maybe we'll open the storm window as well. It's very dark, guys. I think it's actually got darker. I can see this this is going to be sweeping across the airfield, so this might be a very interesting little flight, this. Right, anyway, mixture fully rich. We don't need the prop, but we'll pull it fully forward anyway. Throttle cracked. And here's another negative of this yoke. We do not have a spring-loaded start switch, which is a bit weird, actually. I don't know why they chose to... There we go. Omit that. I think maybe some of the newer yokes might have that on, but it's a strange one. The fact that they missed an opportunity there with the spring-loaded thing. Right, avionics can come on now. And tell you what, we'll put our landing light on because we don't have a taxi light. And yeah, I think we're ready to go, guys. But it has got really dark. Look at that storm over there. Holy crap. I think we're going to need a bit of light on as well. Definitely our pitot heat needs to come on. Another switch would be nice, actually, to have a pitot heat. But these are nitpicks, guys. Seriously, nitpicks. No big deal, really. For the price you pay for this yoke, I am very impressed. Right, anyway. This is going to be tricky. Oh my word. Whoa, that was close. We did clear it just. By the way, I've got everything on ultra setting today, of course. We're in 2D mode. And by the way, my hat switch, I've got it set, because obviously I'm in VR most of the time, to move around the cockpit like that, forward and back. And that's your translation controls. And when I go outside, I use it as a normal hat switch, like that. See? Just looking actually, what's the wind doing? We'll go this way. Also, I've got that as my sort of main view. I've got that as a push to talk. I do like how most of the features of the yoke, when you plug it in for the first time, it actually assigns everything that you need. So I've only made a few adjustments, particularly with the hat switch, because I really do like how the Eclipse yoke, the CH Eclipse yoke, has 2 hat switches. I would have preferred that over this sort of disconnect button there. But again, maybe a bit of cost cutting going on. They needed to do it somewhere, let's be honest. Just enjoy some of the views here of Edinburgh. What a incredible rendition. And really good on frame rate as well, considering the attention to detail. Ignore my terrible taxiing skills. Too busy gawping at all the scenery here. I've also got this set to flaps, but actually, interesting, with this quadrant I've got going on here, which I did buy, by the way, I decided not to get the Bravo quadrant. Not because I don't want one, I do want one, it's just I don't have enough room on my desk. There's just no way I could fit this on my desk as well. So I've got this set here for flaps. So if I just come down here, we'll have 1 notch of flaps. And for trim, obviously I've got my Cytec trim wheel here, which I love. And actually I'm worried about the day that breaks, because they don't sell them anymore. And the Cessna Cytec trim wheel, I just absolutely... I'm on the lookout, actually, for a second-hand one. If you've got one you're selling, please PM me. I will buy it off you, so long as it's in decent nick, because I am literally really worried the day that this breaks. Right, anyway, check we're still recording. Yes, we are. And now, yeah, we'll talk a bit more about this yoke as we go for a flight. Strobe's coming on now. I'll tell you what, folks, these Just Flight Piper aircraft are pure quality. They really are. Anyway, let's get cracking now. And we'll talk about this yoke and how she flies. power. We are airborne. And by the way, the flight modelling of the Piper series are superb, if you're wondering. I have flown many hours in a real Warrior and it feels very, very similar. And look at that, sweeping across there. Oh my god. Hopefully it won't get too bad as we're flying around here, doing some circuits. So the other thing that struck me about this yoke, okay, when I first started using it, was the tension in the pitch axis. I heard about people complaining about it, but I thought, I'm sure it's not as bad as what people say. But actually, here comes the rain, look at that. It isn't brilliant, it's too strong. It is too strong, absolutely, and it's, of all the things I don't like about this yoke, the tension in the pitch was the thing that shocked me the most. But having said that, even after probably about 5 days use now, and I've used it quite a bit, it has loosened a fair bit. So that does bode well for the future, although I don't want it to loosen too much. I think, you know, it could definitely do with being a lot looser than this. It's far too strong, even compared to, you know, flying in real life. Is it a deal breaker? Well, actually, I did think it might have been. When I first, you know, my first flight, I thought, whoa, this is a bit too strong. But I have got used to it, and I do feel it has loosened a fair bit as well. I absolutely also love the 90-degree bank you get with this. That is very, very nice to see. I did actually have a Cessna Cytec yoke. I bought that. In fact, I might, if I've got a picture somewhere of that yoke, I'll put it on the screen now, compared to my CH Eclipse yoke. In the end though, I didn't like it, guys, and I got rid of it after about 2 weeks, simply because of the centre detent. It had a really defined click right in the centre where you spend most of your time flying, because obviously in real life and in the sim, if you're flying correctly, you're only making small adjustments to the yoke, okay, particularly in the pitch axis. And the Cessna Cytec yoke, it was awful. You could not be very accurate with it at all, because it would just click and clunk. Oh, thank you very much. That is my 3rd coffee today already. Thank you, Melissa. But thankfully the Honeycomb Yoke does not have that problem. It doesn't have a centre detent actually. It's very smooth, even you can be really fine with it, with the movements. You see there the yoke. I'll even zoom in there. Look at that. You can be really super, super fine. There is a bit of a dead zone there, look, just there. But, you know, it doesn't matter at all. That's fine. I don't think that's a problem, for me anyway. It might be to you guys, but for me, that's fine. Also, notice how one-to-one movement there of me using the yoke, and in the sim, it's pretty much identical, apart from when you get sort of to the real edges of the envelope. There's a bit more sensitivity, there's a bit more reaction time there. Not reaction time, what I'm talking about, the movement is emphasised, for lack of a better word. Look, we're in a snow shower now. Oh my goodness me. But what that does mean though, there is a benefit to that rather sort of stiff axis on the pitch. You can be a lot more in control actually when flying, you know, hand flying the aircraft, because you have to make sure that the trim is set better. And I'm using the Cessna trim wheel even more now than I did before. That's actually a good thing, because really the aircraft should always be trimmed depending on what you're doing. You know, whether you're in cruise, whether you're on approach. And what we're going to do now is actually do a little bit of a touch and go here. I've lost the airfield, I'm too busy talking. But you know, for all phases of flight, it should be correctly trimmed. That's what you do in the real aircraft, and I think actually that makes it more realistic, because it makes you a better pilot, because you're always going to have the aircraft in the correct configuration. Now, just to also say, I've tested this yoke with the Fly9 Spitfire and the F-16. I know, crazy, but I just wanted to see what it felt like when you really are using it to its full deflection, and actually it was totally fine. Totally fine. And I was quite relieved by that, because that to me was the real test to see how the yoke behaved when you're really yanking it around. And the yoke can totally withstand, proper movements and messing around and doing crazy deflections. And notice how I'm doing that. The aircraft is sort of slow to respond, because that's how it should be in the real thing. After all, we're in a sort of general aviation aircraft, but in an F-16, which you'd use a joystick anyway, it would be a lot more sensitive. Anyway, I've got no excuses now for a bad landing, because, as I say, I've got a brand new yoke. Let's see how we get on here. Right, first stage of flaps. Let's trim that out here. And notice, generally speaking, I've got one hand on the trim wheel and one hand on the yoke. I do that quite a lot these days. But let's just tell you what we'll do, actually. We won't trim out the aircraft. We'll just use the pitch of the yoke, just to show you that it isn't too much of an issue, but you do need a fair bit of force. And what we'll do is we'll use the throttle to control our altitude and pitch, which is what you kind of should do in the real thing anyway. Look at this weather. It's really closing in here. But yeah, I can be really fine with this yoke now, and just it's so much easier to flare and to just control the aircraft. He says, I'm really by saying all these things, hopefully my landing will be fairly decent. We're a little bit fast actually, but I am a bit quicker just to counteract any turbulence. We are getting a bit of buffeting here. But I would normally trim out a little bit more, but I'm going to do this on purpose and use more of the range of the pitch axis, because just to show you it's not a problem once you get used to it. I would go outside, but no, I'm going to stay inside the aircraft here. A little bit of rudder, and there we are, look at that. That is a butter landing, very happy with that. Here we go there, and we'll just start taking off again. Right then, so we're now turning finals, and we will land this time because the weather is very dodgy today. And yeah, I'll sum up the yoke really. It's an absolute must-buy, I think, and guys, you know that already because you've already bought one. I'm pretty certain most people have already bought this, and I'm just preaching to converted, I guess. But what I love about this yoke is just how I can be so precise with it. It looks like an expensive pro piece of gear, unlike the CH Eclipse yoke, which does look like a Fisher-Price toy. There's no getting away from that. I do like how I can just be... I feel more in control of the aircraft when hand flying now as well. And I know I'm more aware when I'm sort of out of trim, like now. I'm kind of always adjusting the trim wheel, which is what you kind of should be doing really in the real thing. I think the negatives, if they are really the minor points, is the lights. The switches here are a little bit flimsy, although I do like the magneto switch here. In fact, you don't need to even use it if you don't want to, but I do like using the master and avionics switch. And of course that pitch axis is a little strong, but I do feel over time it will sort of get looser. But having said that, it's still quite strong, and that might be a deal breaker for some of you guys. For me, it's not actually. I've got used to it already. I don't mind it. What else? I think, yeah, in terms of the good things, I mean, the build quality overall is fantastic. The clamps are metal. The feeling, the fit and finish is very nice. I love the 90-degree roll, and just overall, I feel honestly like a better pilot now with this thing. And that's really it, guys. I hope you enjoyed that little flight today. We'll just come in for a landing. Go outside here. I know people don't like when we go outside, but here we go. Look. There we go. We're on the deck. And I hope, as I say, you've had a wonderful Christmas. Thank you so much for all of your support on the channel. If you feel like subscribing, about 80 odd 98% of my viewers are not subscribed. That's all I ask. I'm not going to really do a Patreon page or anything like that. Just basically click that notification button, subscribe, and there will be plenty more content inbound on the channel. Got some very exciting things coming up actually. I want to talk about it, but I can't, unfortunately. But yeah, really, that's going to be it for me. And as I say, the Alpha Yoke is absolutely, I'm very pleased with my purchase, I must say. I think it's definitely worth the price. In fact, if this was £100 more, I still would have bought it. You know, I think that says it all. And thank you so much. I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.